Hey everyone, welcome back to the second video in Module 6. So I'm excited. We talked about the place value, and now we'll talk about how to write and read whole numbers with the place value, right? And you guys remember how we went from thousands to a million to a billion to a trillion? Well, now how am I supposed to write this? Now, I know how to say it, but how do I write it in text? So before we get into how to write it, two things are important that you have to keep in mind. The first one is the comma. Again, you guys remember the comma is your best friend, right? And it's the change. So remember, the comma brings the change. So now, whenever you see a comma in the number, you make sure you put the comma in the text. Sorry, I'm having a bit of a cough issue. Okay. The second thing that you have to keep in mind is to hyphenate. Now, what do you mean by hyphenating? Any number, sorry, any number between 20 and 100 that does not end in a 0 needs to be hyphenated. So if I were to write the number, I'm going to go ahead and use the color red. Sorry. My cough is not being nice to me, but if I were to use the number, if I were to write the number 21, how do I write this in text? I would write 20-1. And I know I have bad handwriting. That's why I should have something written out nicely for you. 21. You see the hyphen there? If I were to write the number 62, how do I write this? Easy peasy. 62, right? Again, I know I don't have the world's greatest handwriting. I have it written out for you, 62. This is called hyphen. So you have to hyphen anything that is between the numbers 0 and 100, which does not end in a 0. So 20 and 100 that does not end in a 0. Look at me. I'm messing up my words today, but you know what? It's late at night, so might as well. So anything between 20 and 100 that does not end in a 0. So like a 21 or a 62 or a 99, you hyphenate that. So we got that. And again, the comma is your best friend. Now I'm going to show you how the comma is your best friend. So let's move this up so we get to see everything, a more clear kind of picture. If I were to write a number, so I'm trying to think of a number and I kind of have some examples here. Let me see if I can use one of the examples. If I were to write 6, 352, 154, 916, 421. Again, let's go back to video 1 and see if we can remember, how do I say this? The commas are your friend. So first, let's go ahead and circle the commas. That's your step 1. Once you've circled the commas, remind yourself, what is the name of that comma? This is 1,000, right? Second one is a million. And then we have a billion. Whew. And then we have a trillion. There we go. And we also know ones, tens, and thousands. And I'm not going to do that for all of them, right? Because we did that in video 1. So how would I say this? I would say 6,352,154,916,421, right? Now, how do I write this? It's a big number. So instead of me writing down with my really, really bad handwriting, I kind of typed it out for you. And here it is. Right? Now, keep in mind, if you see wherever there is a comma, I have added a comma in the text. I'm gonna get my red marker. You see a comma here, 6 trillion. 6 trillion, boom, there's a comma. 352 billion, boom, there's a comma. 154 million, boom, there's a comma. 900, and I'm going to erase the commas for now. Oops. I think I ended up erasing the whole thing, but you kind of get the idea. Wherever there's a comma in your number, you have to add the comma in your text. Let me see if I can get my number back. I guess I can't get that number back. Let's try another number, okay? If I were to say, let's see, 32, comma, 016, comma, 009, okay? Let's remind ourselves, what do each of the commas mean? The first one is 1,000, and the second one is 1,000,000. So now that we know our commas, 32,016,009. Okay, so let's bring a number, and I kind of wrote it for you because, like I said, not the world's best handwriting. Let me go use my red marker. 32 million, 32 million, boom, there's a comma here. 16,000, 16,000, boom, there's a comma here, there's a comma here. And this is really important, okay? So keep that in mind. Wherever you see a comma in the number, that is your reminder. This is where you change, and you put the comma in the text. So that's really important. Now, let's see if we were to flip this around, and I were to give you a text. How would I move that text to a number? So let's go up a little bit and find a text, okay? Again, use the comma as your best friend. So if I were to say this number, it says 32, remind yourself, this is 2 hyphen. So 32 billion, comma, 4 million, comma, 64. So let's go ahead to the billion. So we know that you have 3 numbers before you reach the 1,000. Then you have another 3 numbers before you reach 1,000,000. Then you have another 3 numbers before you reach 1,000,000,000. And then you have, let's see, well, another 3 numbers, but I'll put 2 because there's only 2 here. So it's 32 billion. So 1,000, million, billion. 32 billion, 32 billion, 4 million. This is billion, this is million. So it's 4. So right here, 4,064,000. Oof, I don't see 1,000. I just see 64. What do you do with the other places? You just keep a 0 for a placeholder. So if you have a text, 32 billion, 4,064,000, written is 32 billion, 4 million, put the comma, another comma, 64. So now we know how to use the comma when you're writing from number to text. Remember to hyphenate anything which is 20, between a 20 to 100 that does not end in a 0. So things like 62, 21. When you have a number, we know how to write it out. So if I have 32,016,009, and you write it out. And then again, if you have the number written out, and then finally, it's written out in text, and you put in numbers. So with that, I am looking forward to seeing you again. And go ahead, watch the videos, and make sure you guys study well before the exam. I look forward to seeing you all. Bye.